Only about 30 years after the Lord's church was established in Acts chapter 2, the Apostle Paul wrote in Colossians 1:23 that the gospel had been preached to every creature under heaven. However, according to skeptics such as Dennis McKenzie, never at any time has every living person heard the gospel. Millions of people have come and gone without having had any contact whatever with Christianity or the Bible. Thus, Paul allegedly was mistaken and therefore not inspired by God to write to the Colossians or anyone else in the first century. Are we really to believe that the whole world had heard about Jesus by about AD 60? First, the phrase "to every creature" could just as easily and accurately be translated, as it is in some versions, "in all creation." That is, Paul declared that the gospel had been proclaimed in all creation under heaven. Is it possible that some 30 years after Jesus' resurrection and the establishment of the church, that the early apostles, prophets, and evangelists had preached the gospel in all the world, in all creation under heaven? Although admittedly, such a feat may seem quite unlikely, the things which are impossible with men are possible with God. If Jesus could use his disciples to feed 5,000 men plus women and children with only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, if he could allow the Apostle Peter to miraculously walk on water, if God could use Peter and Paul to raise the dead and do many other things, it may very well be that by the time Paul wrote to the Colossians, the Lord had miraculously and providentially helped Christians spread around the globe with the gospel. After all, this was the commission given to the apostles. Go into all the world and proclaim the gospel to the whole creation, Mark 16:15. Most likely, however, when Paul wrote that the gospel had been preached in all the world to every creature under heaven, he merely was using a figure of speech known as hyperbole or intended exaggeration. Consider how people today will often make the statement, "Everyone knows that," yet they do not literally mean that all of the billions of people on earth actually know the subject matter being discussed. A frequent world traveler may say, "I've been all over the world," but does not literally mean he's been over every square mile on earth. Likewise, the Bible writers often employed the same type of hyperbolic statements. Luke wrote that prior to the birth of Christ, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. So all went to be registered, everyone to his own city. It should be obvious that Luke did not literally mean that every single person in every country on earth, even those outside of the Roman Empire, were expected to be registered. The fact is, everyone understands that Paul's statement in Colossians 1:23 was intentionally exaggerated, at least to some extent. Even the skeptic would not contend that by indicating the gospel had been preached to every creature under heaven, that Paul meant all of the animal kingdom had heard the gospel. Most likely, the skeptic would not even demand that every creature or all creation must include infants or the mentally ill. Although with God all things are possible, Paul's statement was not meant to be taken strictly literal. It's possible Paul was merely using hyperbole to communicate an astounding truth, that the known world at that time of both Jews and Gentiles had been exposed to the good news of Jesus Christ.